Welcome back to the Vision Lab podcast in partnership with Next One Creative. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The Vision Lab is the official growth mindset podcast for all visionaries worldwide, showing mad love to the cigar community. Folks, it's in the lab where we focus on growth and exploring the developmental path of people's visions and dreams and how those dreams come into reality. It's all about tapping into and becoming the best versions of ourselves through self-discovery, self-examination, and self-actualization. Visionaries across the globe, listen, I'm super excited about this one today. I've been following this guy since about 2008. He's doing amazing things in the herbal space. It's absolutely insane that we got him here on the show. Hey, yo, Mo, who do we have in the lab?
Cuff, today's guest is a native of San Jose, California. His line of products have been featured on both the Steve Harvey and D.L. Hughley show. He is the CEO of dherbs.com. Please welcome AD Dolphin to the Vision Lab podcast.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What up, man? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm excited to be here. I'm super hyped for this interview.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Believe us, we're the ones that are super excited, man. And so I think it was appropriate. You know, we reached out to you late in 2020. As we turn the calendar on another year, and it's such a blessing to be here. 2021 is oftentimes where people make those New Year's resolutions. And so I felt like it would be a great opportunity for us to start off the year the right way. I think a lot of people, struggled with 2020. A lot of stuff went down, right? But we're certainly happy and honored to have you here into the lab, brother.
Man, pleasure to be here, man. This year was crazy. 2020 was wild.
Yeah, for sure. So, as we are here, January 2021, by the way, season 7 kicking off, and we're coming out hot, man. Let me ask you this, AD. What can people do to remain steadfast in their pursuit of living out a healthier lifestyle?
Well, I'll probably say the number one thing that people can do, and it's not just because I'm in the cleansing business, it's cleanse, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's going to clean. It's going to really get your body on that next level. We do a lot of exterior things. We wash our clothes, we're taking bath. We're doing all these things. We're taking our clothes to the cleaner. We wash our car. It's a lot of external things that we do. But when it comes to the internal body, we don't tend to that.
For sure. In preparing for this interview, I really thought about, we live in this microwave society, right? That idolizes this quick fix, take these pills and, you'll lose 50 pounds in 2 days and do this and you'll bulk up 80 pounds in 2 weeks and all this other stuff, right? And there's a lot of pills and potions and things like that. And oftentimes, your business can kind of get lumped into that category,
Absolutely.
if you will.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how challenging is it for you to kind of reshape the consumer's mindset and help them understand that transformation happens over a period of time with consistent and deliberate action?
You know what it was for me? It was about the being honest with the consumer. See, when it comes to a lot of times people think when it comes to weight loss and things along those lines is that they just have to take this kind of special concoction and then the weight's going to fall off. Right. 80% of weight loss is diet. 20% of it is working out. So you have to do your part. The herbs and things like that are going to help you get to where you need to get at a faster rate. But it's more importantly that you play your role in this, which is changing your eating habits, which is going to have a life-changing effect on your life.
It's funny you mentioned diet, right? When it comes to diet, what are some things that you feel like are essential, especially when it comes to being paired with your product that people consume to help the process?
There's an old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's right. And what they meant by that is just that eating more fruits and vegetables and things along those lines will actually keep you healthy. And that same thought process is still effective today. So eating more fresh fruits, vegetables, eating things in its natural state will play a huge role in your health and your size and in your mind and just everything that's going on with you.
Why is it so difficult? Because it's a very simple concept, right? eat fresh fruits, greens, beans, and seeds, right? Why is it so difficult for us to stay on that path and minimize, eating fast foods and eating fatty foods and things along that nature?
Because they're manipulating our taste buds with all these different flavors out there. So therefore, when you're having ice cream and cake, and you every time you see ice cream and cake, it's always, there's a party, it's happy birthday, all these things. And when it comes to eating other healthier things, everyone doesn't seem as happy. So it's all this imagery that goes along with it. And the fact that, like I said, these complex sugars play a huge role in changing our taste buds, and things that used to taste good don't taste as good anymore. And it's funny that you even mentioned that, because when you do cleanse, it kind of wipes the plate. You get to start all over again. And the things that you start consuming and being able to put into your body, that whole flavor profile changes. And you start craving more water, and you'll want certain vegetables, and you'll definitely want an apple throughout the day. It's just, we've got to reprogram our mind and our body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's back up and go to quote unquote the beginning, right? You played in Australia, played basketball overseas in Australia.
Right.
Eventually you hung up the basketball shoes and put the ball in the locker. You got back, I'm assuming it was in California, right?
Right.
How did the whole cleansing industry even, become a part of your life? Like, how did you get aware of all this stuff?
Well, I had a girlfriend that, I had to play basketball my whole entire life. And I went from, being on the court to basically being at a desk. And it was an unusual position for me. And during that time period, I noticed that I started to gain weight. And I wasn't used to this, and I never had to watch my weight. I could pretty much eat anything I want, but I was playing 5 hours a day on the court. So you can kind of do what you want when you do certain things like that. And what I noticed is that I was like, wow, I'm gaining weight. And then she was like, hey, why don't you do this cleanse with me? So I did this cleanse, and I had an amazing experience, because at the time I was addicted to soda. I love soda. I would eat soda before I would eat food. That was my drug of choice. I mean, I would drink 2 liters every single day. I had been doing it pretty much my whole entire life. So that's what was going on with me. And I started to gain weight, and I didn't really know what to do. And I did a cleanse. Amazing experience. And I have this crazy addictive personality. So I began to do everyone's cleanse. I did this cleanse and that cleanse and this cleanse. And I noticed there was something special about all of them. And so what I did was I said, what if somebody makes the ultimate cleanse? So it took me about a year. I put together an herbal team. I put together, start getting the products, start learning more about the products and things along those lines. And I created something called the D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse, which I still feel today is the #1 cleanse on the market. And statistically, we are doing those kind of numbers, and we're the #1 cleanse on the market. So we're killing them right now.
And I'm glad you brought that up, and relevant to the market. What makes D-Herbs in your full body cleanse different from quote unquote the competition out there?
So a lot of times when people make cleanses and capsules, they'll put fillers and binders, basically a lot of things that's not really effective into your body. So we went at it a different way. Opposed to trying to make as much money possible on the cleanse, we said, let's make sure people have an amazing experience, and let's put the best products in it. So our products don't have any fillers, binders. The capsules aren't gelatin capsules, which comes from a horse or a pig. It actually it's a vegetarian capsule. So we're giving people a complete vegan experience, and the capsules themselves and what's in those capsules is 100% the herbs. So it's just grounded up herbs and a vegetarian capsules. And if you take those capsules consistently throughout those 20 days and you eat the foods that we're telling you to eat. Now, that's another thing when you deal with different cleanses, they don't want to tell you to do the real diet. We don't care. We're telling everybody, look, you want these results, then you're going to have to do it this way. And that's where a lot of companies won't do that, because they think they're going to be affected by sales. We're more or less interested in telling everyone the truth and making sure that they have a positive experience. And what we noticed is 10 people do the cleanse, 3 of them will absolutely hate it because they have no willpower. They can't do it. Another 3 of them will see the potential, but cheated alongside the cleanse, but they lost 12, 13 pounds, but they should have lost 23 or 25 pounds. So they see the potential. And the other 40% that's left right there, that other 4 people will have the most life-changing experience that they've ever had. And they will tell every single person that they know. So we built ours on that particular model, that 70% of them will see the benefit of cleansing, opposed to focusing on that 30%, which is not going to do what they need to do anyway.
It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Can't make them drink.
So, AD, you started to talk about the ingredients in the capsules being natural herbs. What type of herbs are we talking about?
Wow. So that's a real tough conversation, because our herbal formulas are really, really intense. And what I mean by they're intense is between 10 to 20 different herbs within that product. So it's definitely a special combination of herbs, and it's 100% herbs along with that.
Now, what you did was, I learned that you actually got the #1 herbalist to be a part of your organization to help build
well, we found the great herbalist that's within probably on the planet, and we consulted with them.
That's amazing.
Throughout the country.
So how did that process look like for you? I mean, here you come from playing in Australia, right? You make it back to the States. You pick up a little weight by sitting at this desk job, what have you, and you get more involved and more entrenched. What was it about your mindset that said, look, I need to go out and get, the #1 herbalist out there, and I want to do it in this way? I know that you're a serial entrepreneur, but what was the mindset behind that thinking to help, separate the herbs from everyone else?
I think if you really, to be honest, I think if you want to be the best, you got to talk to the best, and you got to learn from the best. So, and that's what we went out and did. So we went out and spoke to the best herbalists, the best people on the planet. And we looked at some of the cheaper products too. What were they doing? Did they have fillers and binders in it? Was their capsules gelatin capsules? So we start picking up on certain traits within certain industries of certain qualities of products. And then that's when we start understanding what was going on.
You said this a couple of times, and I want to give the visionaries that are out there and listening and watching us on YouTube right now. When you put certain foods in your body, right, it processes it differently and allows you to function and perform at optimum levels when you're doing fresh fruits and nuts and vegetables, et cetera, right? Your cleanse is a 21-day cleanse.
It's 20 days.
It's a 20-day cleanse.
Yeah.
And what is the average person going to feel as they're going through that 20-day process? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, can you speak to how, having a clean body and cleansing out your body gives you a clearer mind and a stronger mindset?
Absolutely. So when you're talking about, when you do the cleanse, the things that you're going to notice, and these are pretty typical. So you're going to notice weight loss between 10 to 30 pounds, depending on the condition of your body. A huge boost in energy, stronger immune system, clearer skin. And you just spoke about another part, being able to focus and concentrate a lot better. That's actually Steve's favorite part of cleansing, that he's able to focus and concentrate. You feel like you're literally, and this is probably hard for people to conceive, you'll feel like the smartest person in the room. You'll be on top of every single conversation, in tune with every single thing, laser focused with every single thing that you're trying to do and accomplish. It's crazy. And to be honest, it really makes sense. Your whole entire body is connected. We tend to look at things as individuals, but all of this, we need all of it to work at the same time and to be effective. And one way by doing that is eating healthy. And eating healthy and keeping your mind clear allows your body to function on a higher level.
AD, you don't have a quote unquote background in nutrition. But yet you've got a certain level of conviction, and it's easy to tell why you've been successful. But when did you know this was going to work? I mean, like I said, this isn't your wheelhouse. Like, you were a basketball player, right? And next thing you know, you're knee deep into herbs and making capsules, and now you're killing it.
Hey, this is the thing that I learned about life, and this is a life lesson for everybody. This is what I noticed, is that by playing a sport, it teaches you something about life.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is this. I learned, wow, if I practice every single day at something, I get good at it. And that means my body has the capability of learning. I learned how to shoot a basketball from 30 feet out and make it go in consistently. Pretty much, if no one was on me, every single time. You know what I mean? And that's what I learned. So I just noticed if you put in the work, you can achieve success. So I took that same information that I learned from sports into every single aspect, every single thing that I do in life is for, being an entrepreneur and tackling businesses. I go and I look and I see what the best are doing and I duplicate it. And I duplicate it every single day and I get better and better and better and better. I eventually outwork them. I'll outwork everyone else around me because that's what I'm used to doing when you play sports. Right. And so that's what I learned. You're capable of learning. You're capable of succeeding. And if you put in the work, you'll see the results.
There's a gem right there.
I'm telling you. And what you're talking about, based off, we've all three of us got an athletic background. What you're really talking about is having a systematic approach to whatever it is you're trying to get accomplished.
Absolutely.
How important is it for you? And I guess really rephrase it. Can you stress the importance to all of our listeners, the value in having a systematic approach, whether it's something you're trying to get done personally or professionally?
Wow. So I'll tell you guys a little story. So when I came back home and I got back from Australia, it's funny because my mom, I was here for about 6 months. And after that, your mom seeing you being lazy around the house, they eventually start putting job applications, all kinds of stuff in my room. She was like, I got to motivate this guy somehow. So once the job applications started popping up, I realized that I had to do something. So my coach at the time, he was like, you need to train kids. He was like, if you start teaching kids how to play basketball, I think that could bring an extra $250 a month. That was actually a lot of money back then. Yeah. But I was just like, wow. I was like, I can't even believe that. So I started doing it. And the way that I did it is I started creating a systematic approach to the way I do things. So therefore, I would get the kids to start off, okay, we're going to do left hand. We're going to dribble straight up. We're going to do right hand. We're going to dribble straight up. Next, we're going to do crossover. We're going to take one dribble, crossover, one dribble, crossover. And I created a whole entire approach and I wrote down every single thing. And as they progressed, the workouts progressed. And I eventually became one of the best trainers in all of LA. I literally had over 150 clients. So literally, if you trained and you were working out for basketball at some point in time during that time period when I was doing it, you came to me.
What I love that you're talking about sports, right? And we all play sports and have athletic backgrounds and what have you. For me, what I look back at sports and then I start to equate that to success, right? I pull out really 5 different pillars. And so tying that into your cleanse obviously requires discipline. And I look at faith, sacrifice, discipline, perseverance, and execution, right? In terms of those are my 5 pillars for success. What are your pillars for success?
So my pillars for success is really consistency and persistency. I really honestly feel like if you're consistent, you showing up every single day, it's certain lessons that you're going to learn alongside the way. You know what I mean? You're going to start to begin to figure things out. And if you're persistent, even through failure, then you can achieve success. And those are the things that I built my whole entire life around.
If he mentioned the word consistency.
Right.
One of the people who are showing their consistency with us is the good folks at Class A Vodka. Crystal and Tim, thank you guys so much for your support. Visionaries, they've got a consistent product. Every time you open a bottle of Class A Vodka, it is truly class in every glass. The Instagram handle is at Class A Vodka. That's Class A with a K.
So we're talking consistency, which ultimately becomes a cadence, right?
Right.
As you move about through your this systematic approach, a number of our guests throughout our previous 6 seasons have talked about their behaviors that they do kind of on a daily basis. What are some of the daily routines or regimens that you do that allows you to operate at a high level?
Well, one of the things that I do every single day is I work out. So I start my day off every single day with a workout, and usually I'm doing some kind of juice or something along those lines, and that's how I begin every single day.
And so a lot of people are going to hear that, AD, and they're going to say, "Well, I don't have like I've been eating poorly for a decade or whatever, right? And I want to get back in the gym, and it's January, and the gyms are full. We're still dealing with COVID and all this other stuff, right? And they ultimately get concerned with those dreadful hunger pains. How do you push through that while you're still trying to work out? Because like you said earlier, it's only 20% of what you're doing is the physical activity, right?
Right, right.
80% is the food
Diet.
intake in your diet. How do you coach people through those hunger pains that they're going to experience for those first 3 to 4 days?
That's a great question. I always tell people, what are you fighting for? A lot of
Mm,
times people are doing cleansing and things along those lines, they're dealing with diabetes. And I always tell them, look, I understand that hunger pains and you can't eat what you want to eat is hard, but what's harder is diabetes. What's harder is high blood pressure. What's harder is heart disease. So that's what we got to realize, that that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to get ourselves out of that kind of a system and lead a healthier life. I remember like what I noticed like back in the day, people used to actually pass in their sleep. You know what I mean?
mm.
And people used to get older and they'd be 90 something years old and they would actually pass in their sleep. Now, a lot of times people are dying inside the hospital because of complications with diseases and things like that. They're literally fighting to live every single day. And it has a lot to do with the things that they're eating and the stuff that they're putting into their bodies and their environment and things like that. And the funny thing about all of that, well, I guess it's not funny, it's actually sad, is that all that is a choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
AD, how hard is it to have this type of knowledge and wanting to be able to share it with people, and then people reject the fact that you actually are willing to share this knowledge for free?
Well, to be honest, when we first, and that's a great question too. And to be honest, our cleanse is $120. It's $120. It was 16 years ago when we started the cleanse in 2004. It was $120. My price hasn't changed.
Mm.
To be honest, I think $120 is free. If $120 could save your life, it's a lot of people to sign up for it. Because when you're dealing with cancers and you're dealing with diabetes medication and all these other things, that stuff is really, really expensive. That stuff really plays a toll on you financially and things like that. $120 and making choices at the dinner table, to be honest, I really feel like that's free.
I want to switch gears and put your CEO hat on, although I'm sure it never is taken off. Um, you've gotten back from Australia. Mom is putting the applications in your room for you to get a job, and you start doing the basketball camps. Eventually, at some point, AD, you had to take a leap of faith, right? And a lot of people know that we have to do that. But Mo always talks about this on our show, which is there's theory and there's application. So everybody understands the theory, right? And that's, hey, you're going to have to take this jump. You're going to have to do this leap of faith. But what's behind that curtain, right? What does the actual blueprint look like to actually starting and getting a business off the ground? Can you talk about, from a real life example on how to make that application work?
It's definitely a leap of faith. It's you believing in yourself and not being willing to quit and things like that. And that's where I go with that whole being persistent and consistent, showing up, even the days that you fail. I'll tell you a story. So I'll tell you a Steve Harvey story. So when we first wanted to do the Steve Harvey campaign, I had just came off a failure, and it was just, we had did what's that guy, Ricky Smiley show. And I always like to give real numbers because I think it's important for people to understand what kind of investment you need to make in yourself and the leap of faith that you kind of need to make.
Right.
So we had did cost me $92,000 to do the Ricky Smiley campaign. I love Ricky Smiley. It was the wrong show for us, but I didn't know that. They had the numbers. I think at the time they had listeners of like 6 million people, but it was more rap. It was more rap. And it just wasn't the show for us. It was a complete failure. Now we came across to the Steve Harvey show, and it was an amazing opportunity. To be honest, at that particular time when we decided to do the show, I was broke. I had just spent $92,000 to figure this out, this show, and I'm thinking this is going to be a huge success, and it wasn't. So I'm coming in to Steve Harvey, and Steve Harvey, at the time, he wanted $100,000 for the month. We have a special way of advertising, and I'm gonna present that to people out there too. The way that we advertise, we don't run regular commercials. We do in-station conversation. And what that means is exactly what what Mo is doing on your show. So it's not during commercial time. What happens is they talk about it right in the middle of the conversation that he's having with other people and explaining it to them. So people don't get a chance to turn away from it. They actually are listening to it and they get to take in that information. And if it pertains to them, it might spark something. So we do in-station conversation and we do 2 interviews during those periods. So we lead off with an interview, in-station conversation, day 15, day 14, another interview, and we go on and do it. At the time, Steve wanted 100. I only had $50,000 left. That's it. That's all I had to my name. And I was like, I know in my heart of all hearts that this is the show for me. I know this is the show for me. So that's when I had to take a leap of faith. I had to put my word. I had to realize, do I really want to try and do this? And am I trying to be here or am I just talking? So I put my money up, and what I asked the people who were buying the advertising time for me, I said, hey, can I pay you at the end of the first 2 weeks? And I asked that question to them, and for whatever reason, they said it wouldn't be a problem. They gave me a shot. That was my first time advertising with them, and they were buying the advertisement from the show. And then Absolutely. Steve Harvey was owned by Premier. So remember, I said I switched agencies. So I didn't get away from Kathy because I love Kathy Hughes, but I wanted to try something bigger. I wanted to try something a little bit bigger. So we switched agencies, and they were able to get the Steve Harvey show at a rate that I could kind of envision. And to be honest, it changed our business overnight.
How I know you were talking about, hey, I was down to my last 50, right?
Right.
I mean, the balls you have to put it out there all on the table. Obviously, we know that you believe in the product and everything else, but like, right. How nervous were you over, when those first campaigns started to roll out?
I was shitting bricks. What do you mean? Man, I didn't know. Ricky Smiley was just a failure. He had 6 million people. I didn't think this shit was going to work out. I had no idea. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I knew I really felt like in my heart of all hearts that Steve was the place for me to be. And it was the best choice I ever made. The one thing that Steve did, and I always tend to mention that, is that before Steve would let me put it on his show, he called me and talked to me. He said, man, I don't want you introducing no product, and I'm going to hear some funky stuff alongside down the lines. I said, Steve, I swear to you, it works. It's life-changing. He said, send it to me. He did about 2 weeks, and he got 2 weeks into the cleanse. He said, I love it. It's changing my life. The mental clarity I'm getting from this is out of this world. I'm going to allow you to do interviews and introduce this to my audience. So Steve definitely did me a solid, and he's been my friend ever since.
Well, and I love what you talked about with the live reads. So you got an open invite if you want to be a part of our show and have your live reads done here in the Vision Lab podcast. So we can chop that up.
We can definitely talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. So here it is. Mo asked the question earlier about, hey, when did you realize it was going to work? You've had the failure with Ricky Smiley's show, and nothing against him. It wasn't the right audience, right?
Right.
You found the right audience. You poured your last 50 into it. Now, as a CEO, we're back to that CEO mentality. You talked about marketing, but what other things do future business owners and entrepreneurs need to know that they need to execute on, even coming out of the midst of a failure or a failed attempt?
That, it's everything that you do in life, failure or success is a learning experience. You just gotta put it all in front of you, and it will literally tell you the story. We sat there and we analyzed the Ricky Smiley show, and then we sat there and we analyzed the Steve Harvey show, and we came to certain conclusions. And then we took that model of success and we tried to apply it wherever we went. And whichever ones had those same symptoms that the Steve Harvey show had, we knew that was the place for us to be. And that's the reason why we were able to pull it off. So we were able to pull it off for two reasons. One, we just had a failure, so we learned from that. And then one, we had a success and we learned from that. We needed both of those things to understand how to be successful.
Absolutely. Love that. Last season, season 6, we had a guest speak about making mistakes. And we're in this, kind of corridor of talking about lessons and failures and things like that. There was a statement that he made where he said, "I'm not concerned with you making a mistake. I'm more concerned with how you respond to the mistake that was made." So as a business owner and CEO, I'm curious, what's your thought process when an employee or even yourself makes that mistake?
I'm always trying to understand what's the logic in it. Okay, what did you see? What did you understand it to be? And then that pretty much tells you the story. And what did you learn from that? Those are the most important things. Mistakes happen. They're supposed to happen. They're all lessons. I totally get that and understand that. But I also believe in not making the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
So that's my whole thing. I'm going to make one mistake, but I'm not going to make it twice. I can pretty much guarantee you that I'm not going to make it twice. I'm going to learn from that experience. I'm going to be able to move on. And that's that whole thing that we talked about earlier, being persistent and consistent. So being persistent is even when you fail and when things go wrong, you still get up to fight the next day. And that's what I'm about.
It's funny. You are completely locked in to what it is you're trying to get done. And with that said, you're the CEO, like the buck stops with you ultimately.
Right.
How do you stay locked in and focused on exactly what it is that you have to do on a daily basis and keep the distractions at bay, if you will?
Wow, that's probably one of the hardest parts because, it's one of the hardest things to do in life is that you have all these amazing ideas, and you guys know this because you guys built your show, your podcast. You have all these amazing ideas in your head and trying to translate that into your reality. So that's the difficult part, but you just got to do it one piece at a time. And that's what I think, you hire this person, you hire that person, you may get rid of a person, or you might do these kind of things to help you form what you're trying to form. It's just every single day to realizing that it's not going to happen all at once, but it can happen if you're persistent about it every day.
Yeah, it's just consistent, intentional activity, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone has a North Star, right? Everyone has a vision. And that's ultimately one of the reasons why we created this show, because we all have these visions, but there's not a lot of times that people are there to say, "Hey, young blood, you need to go in this direction. Here's the steps that you need to take." So we're certainly honored to have folks like you that have done it, that can look back and give a helping hand and really paint that picture through conversation and dialogue, right? What I'm kind of curious to know is you've made it to the top. No question about it. You've got money, you've got an established business. And that's a lot of work, right? We all know that it takes a lot of work and it's difficult to make it to the top. But can you speak on how difficult it is remaining at the top?
That's probably the hardest part. Getting a glimpse of, success is just a glimpse, but staying there the whole entire time and fighting the whole entire time, to be honest, that's the real fight. It's about every day. It's about thinking about the next thing that's coming up. Okay, we have a new TV show coming on. Let's see if we can be a part of that TV show. One of the things that we faced this year, and you're talking about staying on the top, is that I did all the weight loss transformations for the Steve Harvey TV show using D-Herbs products for the last 4.5 years. This year, that show got canceled. That was that probably was more than 70% of my marketing plan.
Oh, wow.
But what people don't understand is that I had literally been preparing for that probably 10 years ago. I said, look, Steve's not going to be here forever. He's not going to do TV and radio forever. So we're going to have to make sure that we have certain things in place so we can implement those things if his show goes away or his radio show goes away. And we're going to have to be able to switch up. And this year I had a chance to implement that. And, we are just as successful as we were last year. And now we're trying to build it even bigger the following year. And so just understanding that, you can't pigeon your hole into certain situation, and you got to think, beyond where you are now is hugely important when you're running a business.
What's the difference from your personal, from where you sit as the CEO? What's the difference between being busy and productive?
Wow. Being busy is you're just doing random work, and it's not necessarily probably moving towards the bigger picture. So I definitely try to be productive, and I try to make sure my staff is productive. So we have certain programs and things like that in place to make sure people are finishing certain goals. And if they tend to finish those goals, we tend to have more and more success.
We're talking, or we have talked about mindset, right? And AD, I'm curious, the mindset is really, or the mind is one of the most difficult things to control, because we've got a lot of influences, whether it be social media, TV, radio, personal noise coming in from, family and friends. It's very difficult to control and figure out. But I think that once people figure out how to control that mind and how it can lead to, living out a rewarding life. I'm curious, what do you do to control your mindset?
I have a certain people in my life that kind of help me stay focused. My brother, AD Dolphin, he's one of those people. I also have Katarina. She's the CFO of the company. To be honest, without those two, D-Herbs wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. It's because of them. You got to be able to check in with somebody. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? And that's what it comes about, having peers around, having people that you respect their opinion, that are doing things a certain way, and having those kind of people around. I think those people really keep you in tune, keep you focused, and they're open to having open discussions about certain things that you struggle with. So having those kind of people around definitely helped me keep me focused on, moving forward and doing things like that.
Do you meditate? I know that you have a spiritual background and you're a believer. But do you meditate, pray? Like, is there anything that you do to kind of get away to really clear your mind?
I don't necessarily meditate, but I definitely pray every single day. I think everybody has a different way of clearing their mind. You got to find out what that is for you. Some people may be playing video games. Some people might be playing, watching a movie, you just got to find out whatever it is for you that helps you do it. And, just got to find that thing. So I don't think there's one thing for everybody.
Before I get to my next question, Cuff, allow me to say thank you to another group of people who support us. And that's the good folks at Dallas Leaf LLC, Ron, Taz, Sheree, David, the Bean Counter, all you guys. We really appreciate it. We are definitely looking forward to things that we're working on with you guys as a collaboration in the future. You have mentioned people over the past few minutes. Right. What happens when the people around you say, AD, no, we don't think this is a good idea? I mean, ultimately, you're in charge, but you've got people around you who kind of keep you grounded. So when someone says no, what happens next?
Wow. It's so funny. They've never said no to me. They've never said no to me. They was like,
because you signed the checks.
They was like, you figured it out thus far and you got us here. I've been really, really lucky having the people I had around me. They may have questioned maybe the method or something like that, but they've never said completely no, let's not do it. They said, let's rethink it. Let's look at it from a different perspective. They've done those kind of things. And I was always open to doing that because I trust them. You know what I mean? Like I said, I wouldn't be here without them. So I completely trust them. And by them divulging certain things to me, it opens up your thinking. You got to be open. You can't just say, no, we only going to do it this way. Somebody might bring up something very valuable, a different perspective on it that can even actually help you be more successful. So I stay open.
Got to shrink the ego.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, I think you're really fortunate and blessed, and you have a circle of influence that's around you that helps navigate you through, whatever terrain you're going through, right? Has there ever been a situation where you're around negativity or have a circle of people that don't have the same vision or mindset as you? And if there has been, how do you fend yourself off from those type of people? Because a lot of people that listen to our shows are not sitting in your seat, right? They're hanging out with the people that they've always hung around, right? And we all know that you're the sum total of your 5 closest peers, right? So if there's negativity that's constantly coming out of that circle, how do you remove yourself and align yourself with people that are more like-minded?
I don't hang around negative people at all. It's funny. A long time ago, I used to have this girlfriend that was complaining about her life, complaining about just every single thing. She would just complain, but she wasn't willing to fight for her life. She just wanted to complain about it every single day. And like I said, that happened to me a long time ago. And I realized that those people steal your energy. They steal your passion. They take everything from you. And I refuse to be around those kind of people. I won't. I will just get up and leave. They'll be like, where'd AD go? AD went home. Okay. AD ain't hanging out with them no more. I'm just not. I'm not interested in that kind of energy, and I stay away from it. I have no desire to be around it. I won't let them pull me down. Your life usually is what it is based upon your efforts. And if you and like I said, I'm a big effort person. If you put in the effort every single day, you will see results. If you don't, it's usually, like I said, a result of your effort. So if you putting in the work every single day, it's going to pay off. And I believe strongly into that.
You know what we call those people?
What's that?
Energy vampires.
Yes. Absolutely. And you know what's so funny? The difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is usually about 3 things or 2 things. It's 2 little things that they got to change. If they change those 2 things, they will be hugely successful. They're just unwilling.
What are those 2 or 3 things?
Sometimes it's just putting in the work every single day, stop complaining about it, taking a step every single day, say, hey, I want to start this business, but you haven't looked up how to start a business. Putting in it's those things. If you have a goal and you're not making effort or steps towards that goal, regardless of whatever it is, it's never going to materialize. It just isn't. So you got to every single day, hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, okay, I'm accomplish this today. And eventually you'll have whatever you're trying to accomplish, but it just takes work and effort every day. Consistent and being persistent will achieve success.
Absolutely love that. Well, why don't we open it up, P?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've reached the part we're going to really kick back and have a good time one time, AD. When you first started this, and you compare it to what it is you're doing now, does it match what you actually envisioned for yourself?
No, I haven't got there yet. I'm learning the whole entire time. This thing, to be honest, this health and wellness thing that I'm building in the next couple of years is going to transform. It's going to go from a place where you can have a restaurant associated with a workout place, associated with great natural products. And right now I'm in the midst of merging those worlds. And it took me a while to figure out what it is that I was building. I thought I had a supplement company, and it's really not that. It's more of a health and wellness enterprise. And that's what I'm really trying to build. And it took, like I said, it's through failures, it's through success that I realized what it is.
That's dope. That's dope. AD, when I say this quote, what does it mean to you? Rich people grind for themselves. Wealthy people grind for the next generation.
Wow. That's a powerful statement. Yeah, rich people grinding for themselves are definitely people that's probably not looking towards the future. They're only trying to achieve success right now, which sometimes is, can be satisfying. But I think well, way beyond that. I'm thinking about my grandkids, kids. You know what I mean? What are they going to be doing? And that kind of leads me into another story. So Steve tells this story, and he goes on and he tells a story about his friend. So his friend grandmother was sick, and this is great for this what we're talking about now. He said his grandmother was sick, and he wanted somebody to go to the hospital with him. Steve said, "Hey, I'll go with you." That was one of his good friends, so he went to the hospital with him, and his grandmother asked him. He was telling his grandmother things, the kid was saying that he wanted to do and all this stuff. And Steve is just sitting there quietly. And the kid goes, he had all these great things. And the grandmother said, do you know your great grandfather's name? And he goes, no, I don't know his name. And he said, do you know why you don't know his name? And he's like, I don't know why I don't know his name. He said, the reason why you don't know his name is because he didn't give you shit. He didn't bring nothing to the table. Wow. He didn't do anything memorable that you understand that happened within your family roots, during the past that would make you understand who your great grandfather was. And what Steve took from that, and what Steve, kind of impressed upon me, is that's what Steve is fighting for. And that's when he changed my whole entire outlook, and from being a rich person to being a wealthy person fighting for his family's future. You know what I mean? So it's that whole thought process. Steve saying, hey, guess what? I mean, when Steve was doing it at the time, he was on maybe like 3 or 4 different networks. He was the only person doing it. And he was like, people said it couldn't be done. But yet he was all over the place. He was bigger than life itself. He's one of the greatest hosts that ever been on TV. You know what I mean? And because he thought beyond himself, he thought beyond one show. He thought, hey, I'm gonna show people what the future can look like. I'm gonna bring wealth and empowerment to my entire family. So that's my goal. I want my great grandkids to know my name and then be like, AD fought for us. And that's the reason why we're here right now.
Man, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. That's dope.
AD, when I say the word perseverance, what comes to your mind?
Perseverance is just about when you face failure, do you get up the next day? You know what I mean? Are you still fighting with the same vigor that you had that prior day? Are you still going at it? And that's what perseverance is for me. It's just about fighting every single day with the same intensity I had the day before when I failed. Am I getting up and I'm fighting? And when you tend to do that, you learn so many valuable lessons. But probably the most important lesson that you learn is, and we always talk about success. Success is great. To be honest, the hell with success. It's about the failures. Because if you can learn how to be successful through failure, then you get to learn how to stay on top for the rest of your life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, since we're going a little word association here, health. When I say the word health, what does that mean to you?
Health is beyond the exterior, and it's about the interior. You know what I mean? So sometimes people look healthy, they appear to be healthy, but they're drinking, they're smoking, they're doing all these things, but they go to the gym every day. But your organs are being abused every single day. So for me, health is beyond the exterior, and it's all about the interior. It's about cleansing. It's about rinsing those particular organs so your body can perform on a higher level.
Hard work
is everything. Hard work is everything. There's so many talented and blessed people with so many abilities, but the guy that works hard every single day will kick your ass.
Vision.
Vision is being able to see the future beyond what you're stressing over right now. Just not realizing that today is not tomorrow. You know what I mean? Today's not tomorrow. So you got to be able to have vision to understand whatever you're going through right now, and we all go through stuff. Whatever you're going through today won't be tomorrow.
Amen. Amen. Well, Mo, I think it's that point that we reached in the show where it's time to land the plane.
Absolutely, and it is time to land the plane, Cuff. Brought to you by the good folks at Grand Brulot Cafe, Cognac Cafe. Thank you guys so much for your support. We are definitely looking forward to bigger collaborations with you guys. Again, folks, it's Grand Brulot Cognac Cafe. The Instagram handle is at Grand Brulot. AD, if there
Yes.
was somebody writing a book about you or about your life, what would it be?
It would be exactly what we talked about this whole entire time. Being persistent and consistent, you can achieve success.
What would you name that book?
What would I name that book?
Yeah, what's the title of your book?
The title of my book, Consistency Wins.
So, what's the long-term vision for one AD Dolphin?
Oh, I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I'm ready to shut it all down. You know, I'm ready to move on, have kids, have a family, do those kind of things and invest in that. That's probably one of the thing, being an entrepreneur, you kind of sacrifice a little bit. And I think it's time for me to open up those gates. I was very, very, I was scared of those things. And the reason why I was scared of those things, because I felt like if I had those things to kind of slow me down, that I felt like I wouldn't be successful or I wouldn't be able to move like I wanted to move. And a few years ago, I realized, okay, I'm comfortable. It's okay to think beyond the business room now. So I'm interested in starting my family and things like that.
So one of the things we ask everybody as we get ready to truly wind things down here on the show, it's you and there are 5 other seats at a round table. You guys are having dinner or your favorite smoothie, whatever have you. Who are the 5 other people at your table? And the only caveat is you can't have, whatever higher power you believe in at that table.
Okay. The people I'm gonna have at that table, number 1 is Michael Jordan, because I think that what he was able to accomplish and being worth almost $3 billion right now from a small town out of North Carolina is amazing. I would love to sit down and talk to him. I would love to talk to Barack, and I would love to talk to Oprah. The stuff that she accomplished, I think, is absolutely 100% amazing. I would love Dave Chappelle there because we all need laughter. We all need laughter. And I love the fact that the way that he expresses his points and the way he goes about it, it's really political what he's talking about. Everything he does is super political, but he gives it to you in a certain way, which is mind-blowing, where it's almost digestible. Talks about tough issues, but he makes it funny, and you leave that experience with a whole different entire mindset. And probably the last person that I would want there is my grandfather. I never got an opportunity to meet my grandfather. My grandfather's name was John Dolphin. Before there was, in the 40s and 50s, they wouldn't let Black people go to Hollywood. So he brought Hollywood to South Central. It's called Dolphins of Hollywood. He was the first business to go 24/7. So before 7-Eleven, before there was any business, his record stores were open 24/7 days a week and time of the day. So it never, ever closed. Another thing that he did, which I thought was amazing, is my grandfather, he was one of the first Black producers ever. So before Berry Gordy and all those people, they all learned from my grandfather. So he was able to produce your record. He's able to sell your record, and he had his own radio stations. So therefore, he was able to produce it, sell it, and play it on the radio. It's never, ever been done before. And I think it would be amazing to be able to sit down and talk to my grandfather and find out how in the hell did he come with this idea to do all of that and sew up the whole entire market. And so he got so big during that time, like every single Sam Cooke, he did records with Sam Cooke. The Beach Boys came to him. Like, it's so many people that were coming to him, and you couldn't go to LA, California without stopping at his record store, and he owned 7 of them.
He controlled the whole ecosystem. They couldn't help but to.
They had to come sit at the table and talk to him. So I think he was an amazing person, and I would love to sit down and talk to my grandfather.
I love that. AD, for all of our visionaries that are still tuning in, real quickly, how can they get a hold of AD Dolphin and how can they purchase any D Herbs products?
Okay, so purchasing D Herbs products, dherbs.com, dherbs.com. If they want to give us a call, it's 866-434-3727. Anyone who picks up the phone at D Herbs has done the cleanse and can talk about it from a personal experience. But we have a bunch of products. We have over 400 different products. So they can just have that, all of those, any questions that they may have, pretty much my staff can answer it. And if they want to reach me, Instagram, any social media platform out there is just AD and it's Dolphin, Dolphin, AD Dolphin.
Well, I am super excited. Here it is, January 2021, and I'm starting your cleanse. I'm going on the D Herbs.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that.
Full body cleanse. So we're getting it in, getting our mind right, getting our body right, getting our spirit right. And I want to say big ups to you for that. I'm super excited about this journey over the next 20 days.
Absolutely.
So final question of the episode, and we ask this to every single one of our guests. Okay. In case you didn't know, the Vision Lab has a magical time machine. So what advice would you be giving yourself from 5 years ago? So it's 2015, 2016. What advice would you be giving yourself from back then?
Back then, what happened back then? 5 years ago? 5 years ago? What would I tell myself? Oh, okay. 5 years ago? Okay, so 5 years ago, we had an opportunity to do the Steve Harvey TV show. That was around then. I didn't know if that was going to pay off and work out for us. I would tell myself, definitely pour everything that you got into that, because that was going to be a huge success for us. Sometimes we kind of think of the cost of doing certain things prevents us from thinking that we can actually get past that. And the cost of doing that show paid off tremendously for my company. It made my company way more worldwide. It gave us incredible exposure, and the financial win, we definitely won.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. Oftentimes when we think about having a fixed mindset, you look at the cost of things instead of the opportunity to gain, right?
Absolutely.
So I love that you dropped that nugget there. All right, so we're going to fast forward the clock 5 years from now, okay? What is the older version of AD Dolphin? He's looking back at you now in 2021. What advice is he giving you today?
Start your family. Start your family.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to all of our visionaries worldwide, I want to say a special thank you to AD Dolphin for jumping into the lab and dropping a ton of gems, ton of nuggets. Brother, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for answering the DM. Just another way, folks, social media, you know, it can work in the right ways if you allow it to work, you know, do it, right? This has been an amazing experience. Remember, visionaries, each one of our guests are dropping nuggets of wisdom on the trail of life. It's up to you to pick them up.
I heard that.
AD, again, thank you again for your time. This has been really, really great. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. The voice you've been listening to is AD Dolphin, the CEO and creator of D Herbs. And we will see you guys next week for another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.